We are going to be removing the guts from a 2018 Nissan NV3500 passenger van so we can put some side view cameras in. So we'll go through the process here. First we have a bolt that's 10 millimeter. Pull the nut off of there. Then we have to undo the clips in 5 places. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Go ahead and pause it. Now that the 5 clips are undone, we'll be able to push this black piece down over the rest of it. But I'm going to pull this out to lengthen them first. And then we have to put these underneath the outer frame so we can slide it down over the top. So I'm just using a flathead for this. There's really no surfaces to scuff as we're doing this part. So once I get that under, I can pull it down a little bit. And I'll do that on all 4 of them. Okay, you can pause. So once you get the clips all pulled off and you bring it down onto the frame part of this, you're gonna have, come zoom in right here, 2 more places where you have to kind of pry it out. So here and here, you have to pry it over the top of this piece on the side. The other side has a different kind of clips, so they're a lot easier to get off. But this one, you're just gonna use a pry tool or a flathead screwdriver and get that over the edge of this piece, and then it's all gonna slide right off. Now that we've released those, we can push the whole thing down, and now we've got 2 bolts that are 16 millimeter that we're gonna pull off, 1 on each side. Go ahead and pause. So now that we have those bolts removed, we can go ahead and take the metal structure out. Now, it's important when you're doing this part, you have to look down here and you'll see that we have 4 little plastic pieces and they have a groove that has to go back in the right place. So we're gonna pull these plastic pieces out one at a time. There's one here on the inside, there's one on each side, and then there's one out here. So I'll go ahead and pull those plastic pieces out by spreading the side a little bit. Okay, go ahead and pause. Oh, shoot. Okay, go back, or go ahead and record. I forgot to mention this little bar in here. So you can see a crossbar coming through there. That will push out through the side after you give it enough space to do so. So I'm gonna go ahead and get my fingers in here. See if I can push this thing out. Go ahead and pause. So if you need to, you can fit a flathead down on this side behind the piece. On this other side, which is the top of the mirror, you're gonna have to push up on this pin before it lets you pull it out through this side. It will not go out the other side. And keep in mind that you also have the nut that we started out with, that number 10 that was right here. So we wanna keep track of that as well. And then we should be able to pull this piece off, releasing from the 4 pieces I pointed out a moment ago. Go ahead and pause. Pull it off, you're gonna route the cable down through, and it is a bit of a tight squeeze getting the harness through the hole. So if you turn it sideways and put it in under the ledge with the first point that's sitting up, you'll be able to then push the whole thing forward and out. Pause it. So once it's removed, just set your metal piece off to the side. We're also going to pull out the 4 pieces that we had to come over. You'll notice they connect together in the middle. You didn't break them when you were working on it. They just go like that inside here, and that's why it's keyed. So we'll pull them out of both sides. And then we're ready to start taking the mirror off. You can pause it. The next thing we need to do is remove the large portion of the mirror. We do this by first taking out, oh dang it, I don't have my flashlight. Sorry, hold on. Should I say that part again?
Just go.
Okay, so we need to get to these Torx screws under here. You can see a little closer. There's one right there. Can you see it?
Mm-hmm.
And there's one over here. Two. And then underneath the small mirror, we have two more that you won't be able to see until you remove, one more that you won't be able to see until we remove the big one. Also, there's one more back here that's really challenging to get to. We're going to use a couple of special tools for that. We're using the same T15 Torx that we use for the others, but I'm using my BAV Sound ratchet tool that I got from one of their kits because it's the only way that I can reach in here to undo this piece. And it goes about 1/12 of a turn at a time. Go ahead and pause. This takes a minute.
Nah, I'm just gonna record you struggling.
Okay.
Good.
Once you get the screw started on its way out, you'll be able to lift the mirror a little bit more, and that will give you the room you need to get it out the rest of the way. So now that I've got all three of the T15 Torx screws out of the large part of the mirror, the bottom part, I have to now reach in here and decompress these clips. There's a set of them on all four sides. So I've got them here, 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 and behind there. And if I start with the ones I can see, the last one will unclip itself when I just push the mirror to the side. Okay, you can pause. I just pulled this piece off to make it a little easier to get to where I'm going to have to do my wiring later. So this comes right off the same way we slid it down, just this time you're pulling it off, and because the aluminum section isn't here anymore, it'll allow you to pull it right out. Now if you look inside, you'll see that I have the first two sets of clips removed. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to reach through those clips to the other side where I know the last one is, and I'm going to push on that to release it. And now the whole thing is off. We have our automatic dimming mirrors here, so we have to pull these off nice and gently. Be careful with them, and you may want to mark which one goes where. In this case, I'm looking at it, and the wire on the right side is going to the left thing here. Now with the mirror off, you can see the last T15 Torx that we need to remove, so I'll take that off real quick. And that's going to free up this entire assembly. So now we're able to move this and shift it around where we need to get our wires to go through, and also to be able to drill our hole for the camera. Okay, pause it. The hole saw came with the camera set, so I'm going to go ahead and use the saw that came with it, and I've already measured out to make sure this matches the other one that I already finished. Okay. Now we'll go ahead and put the camera wires through we have to put them through this hole first and then route them to the outside. So first I'm just pulling them through. You can see they're coming underneath the mirror here. And then we do need to press fit the camera into position. So I'll just push this in here. It is going to be a very tight fit. We don't want any moisture getting in, and we don't want the camera falling out, of course. So a nice tight fit. Make sure it lines up and it's even with how the other one is mounted. And then we can go ahead and put the wiring through. What we're going to do is we're going to follow where the factory wires go on the other arm of the mirror here. So we're going to go through this one instead, through this hole right here. And that way, when stuff slides in and out, our wires are not going to get bound up by anything. Okay, you can pause it. So to get through here, you have to drag the wire through from the other side. So I didn't have any baling wire to put in here, so I used some solid core solder. I pushed it all the way through, and I'm just gonna grab the end of one of these wires, but I want the wire to be able to fold over like this as I'm pulling through, so I don't make the entire assembly too wide to fit through the hole. So I'll go ahead and set this up. And I like to make it so the opposite side is facing where the wire is going to come from, just to make sure I don't have to bind anything. So I'll bring this through now. I'm going to route it through nice and carefully. Okay, we've got the yellow one going in. I don't know if you can see that. Yellow one is in, black, and now red. And then we'll bring them all out the other side. Nice and careful pulling these through. It is kind of a tight fit. There we go. Takes a little bit of finagling, but it fits. Oh shoot, pause. Before you push the wires through, make sure you're routing the wires underneath the bottom mirror, just to make sure the wires reach far. Okay, you can pause it. And now we have the cables routed through. So we'll be able to go ahead and run these into the side piece that I already removed right here. And then we'll run these into the vehicle through the holes that are already there for the factory wires. That's it.